So I personally think that in this era of self-help, mental health awareness, self-awareness and all of that, as somebody who is very, very pro self-awareness and personal and emotional growth, I think that we are beginning to have a problem. We are allowing semantics to mess with the essence of life, you know. Even though in certain disciplines we can define some issues using some certain contexts, we must realize that it does not apply to every context. It is not blanket, one. And number two, semantics are theoretical. Real life applications are different. Here's what I mean. Now, scientists in the medical field will tell you that semantically, a fetus, an unborn baby, is sort of like a parasite. Now, it is a parasite by definition because it feeds on the hosts, right? That is a biological term. The real life application, we cannot treat a fetus like a parasite. This is a baby, this is a life, this is a whole connection, this is family. There are so many definitions to an unborn child. This is your future, this is a family, this is a generation. So it is more than just a parasite, but we can now use that parasitic definition as an excuse to endorse abortion. It becomes a problem. And I think it's the same thing with matters of like enmeshment, parental responsibility, how to handle parental abuse and trauma, subjects of narcissism and all the others. Somehow we have allowed the semantics to mess with real life situations, because theoretical definitions will change context when they come to real life applications. Here's what I mean. In chemistry, if I remember vaguely, we used to have calculations that were done in ideal situations, right? Provided air pressure is this, temperature is this and that is that. Those are in ideal situations. But when you come to real life applications, you know that air pressure is very fluid. It can change at any time. Temperature can change at any time. And so we have to be careful, right, when dealing with real life applications of those theoretical whatever that we have dealt with. So at the end of the day, we need to find a balance between understanding theoretical definitions of psychology, of certain terminologies when it comes to self-help, self-awareness and growth, and understanding that life is life. Life is not paper, So there is parental abuse, there is trauma that a lot of times, if not 100% of the times, were unintended. They were just situations that were, life happened. We need to understand that the fact that your parents has gotten the psychological tag of somebody that has maybe bipolar disorder, narcissistic personality disorder, or you have an enmeshment system in your family or whatever, that's on paper. On paper it is true, but the real life applications of these things will be different. There will now come situations like the African tradition, scriptural tradition of honor your father and your mother. These real life situations have to apply. And then sometimes we cannot define our lives 100% by what is on paper. We have to understand that we don't have to think or intellectualize our way through everything. And sometimes it is what it is. We must learn to adapt to like the structures of life instead of trying to pick up paper and make it reality. There are so many nuances, so many situations that cannot be properly defined, so many real life scenarios that they are not applicable on paper. There are no words or there are no spaces or timelines to define them and include them in the situation from which you will get those paper results. So that is the definition of life. Basically, it's the what ifs and whys and the why me's and the why not me's that we may never really know how it will turn out if those situations were not there. So it's a function of picking up the best possible decision that we can in the foreseeable future using the parameters that are available to us. Well, just letting go, basically, because I know I'm saying a lot. Please just follow me. Here's the deal. If we want to approach everything by paper definitions in the strictest, most disciplined terms, we will lose sight of the things that actually matter in life. Emotions cannot be calculated. Love does not factor in mathematical or scientific calculations. Emotional biological bonds, they can explain it in paper, but the real life application of it can never be explained. The time and chance cannot be calculated on paper. There are so many things about life that cannot be defined or explained. And if we try to put every real life situation into psychological graphs, to define everything and find a mathematical solution for everything, we become stringent with our energy. Because here's what I've realized: most of the things, wow, Eunice, you are saying a lot. Most of the things that we learn, instead of bringing us together as a society, they are separating us. Because now we have so many categories. Everything is being labeled as toxic. There are stratas for everything. There are definitions for everything. There are groups for everything. And what these groups do is that instead of creating community, it creates strata, it creates class, it separates people more and more. Why do you think that in this generation, people are more lonely than they probably would have ever been in any other generation? Because we have too many structures, we have too much nomenclature, too many names, too many groups, and we are always trying to define people and put them in a particular box. This person is a low value human being, that person is a high value, whatever. Too many classes. We need to stop and leave the paper and come to real life. Of course, with the knowledge of what we have on paper, that is going to help us live better lives and, build relationships with proper understanding. But it does not define every single situation, and we cannot bring our lives under a microscope to properly define and put everything in context, because that is not how life works. You have to get up, get out there and live with the many uncertainties and, flow with it. And stop trying to measure everything, stop trying to define everything, and just actually live. Interact with people, influence them, let them influence you. That's just what life is about, basically.